Hello students, how are you? Hope you all are fine at home and studying well. So today we are going to start the third chapter of ICSE Physics class 10 and the name of the chapter is machines. This is the first video on the chapter, first part. In this chapter we will study about machines and some terms related to machine. As you know, my name is Ashok Rawat and you are able to see the video through the channel of Rawat classes. Okay students, now let's start. So we all know that there are some small things which help us to make our work easier. Suppose you want to open a nut. What will you do? You will take the help of wrench because you can't open it by your hand, but you can do by the help of wrench. If you want to draw water from a well, it is easier to use a pulley on the well. If you want to travel somewhere, it is easier to go by bicycle than on foot. So these simple things, like I told you, wrench or pulley or bicycle, these simple things, what they do, they make our job easier. We can easily perform our job by the help of these simple things, and that is why we call them machines. So if we come to the details of physics, so what is a machine? Machine is a device that performs any of the 5 points which I am going to write here. So machine is a device that performs any of the 5 points. What are the 5 points? If it makes our work easier, means we have to apply less effort. Okay? We have to apply less effort. Means the machine makes our job easier. We have to apply less effort to do the work. Okay? Suppose it may happen that you want to lift a load of 10 Newton and you can do it by applying only 5 Newton. So that is a machine. Second thing, changes the point of application. Point of application of effort. Means where we are applying the effort, it is changing the point of application. Okay? Means what? Let me give an example. Suppose in the bicycle, we have two wheels. This is the bigger wheel, not that wheel. This is attached with the pedal, chain. I am talking of chain wheel. This is the chain, this is the back wheel, and this is the chain where we have the pedal. So we pedal to start the bicycle. What is the concept of pedaling? What is the motive of pedaling? Just to make the back wheel rotate. Because when back wheel will rotate, it will push the front wheel. तो साइकिलिंग में क्या होता है, हम लोग जो पैडलिंग करते हैं उससे क्या होगा, उससे पीछे का चक्का चलेगा, पर हमको चलाना किसको है, पीछे चक्का को, पर हम एफर्ट कहां दे रहे हैं, सामने. तो ये जो चेन पैडल सिस्टम है, दिस इज अ सिंपल मशीन which enables us to change the point of application. We are not giving the effort here at the back, we are giving the effort here. So this makes our job easier. Okay, so it changes the point of application of the effort. Third point is it changes the direction of effort. Changes the direction of effort. Now students, think what is easier, to lift something upward or pull something downward? Which is easier? You will obviously say, sir, to pull something downward. Why? Because when we are pulling something downward, we can take the help of gravity. And when we are lifting it some upward, we are doing work against gravity. So suppose on the well, you have seen the well, drawn water from the well. If you are not using the pulley, then what you are doing? Suppose this is the well and this is the string. This is the bucket. What you are doing? You have to pull it upward. Okay? You have to pull the bucket upward when you are not using the pulley. But suppose a pulley is here and this string will go, and now what you have to do? Now you have to pull the pulley string down. So now to lift the bucket, you have to pull it downward. Pull it downward. So it is easier. So what is the machine doing? What is this small pulley doing? It is changing the direction of effort. Okay. So this is the okay. And the changing the direction of effort. And third is it changing the direction of effort. And the fourth point is what? The gain in speed. Gain in speed. Okay, students? So gain in speed means what? We can do it with the help of machine very fastly. We can do the job. हम लोग उस मशीन से उस काम को बहुत तेजी से कर सकते. Let me give an example. The cloth used for the scissors used for cutting cloth. You must have seen, or you have also at home or seen at the tailor. The blades are bigger and the handle is smaller. Okay. Why? Because you have to give more effort. Now we study later, when we study the mechanical advantage, we will see now that there we are having to give more effort opposite to this. But still we are using it. Why? Because that helps to gain in speed. ठीक है? उससे क्या होता है? स्पीड गेन होता है, जल्दी काम उस सीजर से, क्योंकि उसका जो ब्लेड है वो बड़ा है, तो इससे हेल्प करता है गेन इन स्पीड. तो दिस इज, तो मशीन इज अ डिवाइस विच, अगर कोई ऐसा चीज जो इनमें से कोई भी एक पॉइंट को फुलफिल करता है, तो वी कंसीडर दैट टू बी अ मशीन. तो व्हाट मशीन कैन डू? इट रिड्यूसेस द एफर्ट. इसको हम लोग अभी बोलेंगे फोर्स मल्टीप्लीकेशन. चेंजेस द पॉइंट ऑफ एप्लीकेशन ऑफ एफर्ट, changes the direction of effort, and we have gain in speed. Okay, so this was the introduction of what machine can do. Now without wasting time, we'll see some terms relating to the chapter. So first thing, load and effort. Try to understand what is load. What actually is load? Load is the resistive force overcome by the machine. Mean what you are using the machine to do, what you are lifting from the well. Suppose you are lifting a bucket of water from the well, so that bucket of water is the load. So whatever job for which you are using the machine, for whatever job you are employing the machine, that is actually load. उसको load कहेंगे. So load is what? The force overcome by the machine. Force overcome by the machine means the machine is doing the work. The machine is doing that work. So force overcome by the machine, that is called what? The load. Okay, students? Now, no machine can work on its own. It is not that you will give the order and the machine will start. You have to give some force. So what is effort? Force applied on the machine. Okay? To overcome the load. So what is machine? What is effort? Please note it down. If you require, pause the video and note it down. So force is what? Effort is what? the force required by the machine applied on the machine to overcome the load. Okay, suppose you are cycling, you are giving the pressure on the pedal. Why? Because there is a force of friction between the tire and the road. To overcome the force of friction between the tire and the road, we have to apply that effort. So that is the effort. Okay, the load and effort. The load, what machine is doing, means the force overcome by the machine, and effort is what you are doing on the machine. So this is what is the machine is doing, that is the load, and what you are doing on the machine, that is the effort. Okay. Now next term, mechanical advantage and velocity ratio. Now we are going to study about two terms, mechanical advantage, and then we will study about velocity ratio. Now what is mechanical advantage? It is a ratio of, mechanical advantage is the ratio of load by effort. Okay, ratio of what? Load by effort. Mechanical advantage is the ratio of load by effort. How much load is the machine overcoming, and what is the requirement of effort? So load by effort, this ratio is called mechanical advantage. Okay, students? Now, load is what? A force. So what is the SI unit of load? Newton. What is the SI unit of effort? Newton. Or you can other unit can be kgf, and here also kgf. So this is a ratio of similar physical quantities. This is a ratio of similar physical quantities. So what will happen? It will have no unit. So what is the main thing about? This is a physical quantity, but it has no unit. Okay, students? Clear? Why? Because it is the ratio of two similar quantities. Okay? Load Newton, Newton by Newton, no unit. But what does the value of mechanical advantage signify? What is the significance of mechanical advantage? Let us see. If MA greater than 1, then it means that the machine is force multiplier. Force multiplier means, what is the meaning of that? It means that more load can be overcome by applying less effort. मतलब हम लोग जितना लोड है उससे कम एफर्ट देना होगा. मान लो 10 kg लोड उठाना है तो 5 kg से हो जाएगा. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, what is the meaning? Please note it down this question. What do you mean by the statement MA of a machine is 2? अगर कोई मशीन का MA 2 है तो इसका मतलब क्या हुआ? देखो, अगर यहां पे 2 बैठा दोगे तो क्या मिलेगा? लोड इज इक्वल टू 2 इंटू एफर्ट, और वी कैन से एफर्ट इज इक्वल टू लोड बाय 2. समझ में आ गया? मतलब क्या कि the effort required is half of the load. So if the mechanical advantage of a machine is 2, it means the effort required is what? Half of the load. Okay, students? Now let's try to understand one thing more. If MA is equal to 1, as we have in single fixed pulley, if MA is equal to 1, it means load is equal to effort. Means as much load, then so much effort. Now ये क्वेश्चन में come in your mind, ऐसा मशीन यूज क्यों करेंगे? जब जितना लोड उतना एफर्ट देना पड़ेगा तो फिर फायदा क्या मशीन का? Yes, we use it. Maybe this machine can be used to change the direction, as we do in the case of single fixed pulley on the wheel. The pulley on the wheel has mechanical advantage 1. If we go practical, it will be less than 1. So we will discuss it later. Then still we use it. Why? Because it makes our job easier. How? By changing the direction of effort. Okay, so we may have to apply the same effort, But what happens? Direction changes. That makes our work job easier. So that is why we use also some machines whose mechanical advantage is 1. Now the third part. We also use some machine whose mechanical advantage is less than 1. Means you will have to apply more effort than the load. ऐसा मशीन क्यों यूज करेंगे? यहाँ पे जितना लोड है उससे ज्यादा एफर्ट देना पड़ेगा, फायदा क्या? हम बिना मशीन का ही नहीं कर लेंगे. Yes, we use this machine for gain in speed. Okay, friends. Why we use this machine? We use this machine for the gain in speed, and we call them what? Speed multiplier. What we call them? We will call them speed multiplier. Means those machines are used for gain in speed. That is why they are called speed multiplier. Is that clear? Okay. Now, okay. So this is gain in speed. So if MA is greater than 1, it is called force multiplier. Force multiplier means what? More load, less effort. And speed multiplier means what? More effort, less load. And both are equal, then these are used for. So MA1 is used, MA greater than 1 is used for force multiplication. MA equal to 1 is used for changing direction. MA less than 1 is used for gaining speed. So this was all about MA. And MA has no unit. Now let's come to VR, velocity ratio. Velocity ratio, as the name suggests, it is the ratio of two velocities. So what is the definition? Velocity ratio is the ratio of velocity of effort by velocity of load. Velocity of load. Okay, students? So what is this? Velocity ratio. Velocity ratio is actually the ratio of the velocity of effort to the velocity of load. So don't get confused. MA is what? Load by effort, and VR is what? Velocity effort by load. Now what is velocity or speed is what? Distance by time. So we can say distance moved by effort by time, and distance moved by load by time. Okay, because both time will be same now. Suppose you are using a pulley. If you are pulling it down for 1 minute, the bucket will also raise for 1 minute. It is not that you are pulling it for 1 second and the bucket is moving up on its own. No, it will not happen. So as much you are giving the effort, that much time the load will also move. If the effort is moving for 5 seconds, the load will also move for 5 seconds. If the effort is moving for 1 minute, the load will also move for 1 minute. So these two time will be same. These two may not be same, but these two will be same. So we are cancelling this. So what will happen? What we are getting? A new formula of VR. What is that? Distance ratio of the distance moved by effort to the distance moved by load. Okay. So we are getting a new formula. What is the formula? Velocity ratio is the ratio of the distance moved by effort to the distance moved by load. Okay, students? So this is called velocity ratio. And like mechanical advantage, it also has no unit. If I come here, velocity meter per second by meter per second, cancel. Or if I come here, meter by meter or centimeter by meter, cancel. All cases, the ratio of similar quantities. So it also has no unit. So velocity has, mechanical advantage has no unit, and velocity ratio also has no unit. Okay, students? Now, work. Now let us come to the work. See, here there are two types of work. One is called the work input. Work input. Or it is the work done on the machine. Okay, work input. It is the work done on the machine. ठीक है, means what you are doing the work on the machine. Now the question is how we can do the work. So in the second chapter we have studied the formula of work is what? Force into displacement. So what force we are applying on the machine? Obviously that is effort. Effort into, and what is the ds? Distance moved by effort. Clear? So what is the work input? Work input is what? Actually effort into distance moved by effort. Okay, unit will be joule work. So work input means work done by the machine, on the machine, means what you are doing the work on the machine. And how we can do work? By applying effort. So how much you are applying effort and how much is the movement of the effort, displacement of the effort. So effort into displacement of effort, this is called work input. Okay students? Work output. Work output means what? Work done by the machine. This is what? Work output. Work done by the machine. Now, what does machine do? Machine moves the load. Machine overcomes the load. And how much distance? So this is what? Load into displacement of load. Load times displacement of load. This is what? This is called the work output. Clear? Now efficiency. Efficiency is again a ratio. So we have studied mechanical advantage ratio, velocity ratio, one more ratio. Ratio of work output by work input. Okay. So what is the this by this? So efficiency of a machine is actually the ratio of work output by work input. Okay. Work output by work input. Okay student. So what is efficiency? Efficiency is the ratio of work output by work input. Okay. Now let me give an example to explain this. Suppose tomorrow is your exam. Whatever exam. So today, obviously, day before exam, you are studying all the subject, all the chapters, question, answers, all this. You are working hard at home. That is your work input. You are giving the information to the brain. You are inputting the text, information, facts, whatever it is that to the brain. That is your work input. In the morning, you went to school, started giving the exam, writing on the paper. That is what? Your work output. Now, how much you are giving the exam? Now, what does the marks depend upon? How many hours you have studied or what you have written in the exam? Obviously, what you have written in the exam. If you have written almost what you have studied, then your efficiency will be 100%. Suppose you have written all, you studied 100% and you kept in mind and written 100%. Then what is the marks? You will get full mark. So efficiency is actually the measure of the potential of the machine. How much is the machine giving me? Suppose I am giving 100% effort, then how much the machine is returning me? Is it returning me 100%? Suppose I am doing work input is 10 joule. Then is the work output also 10 joule? If it is so, अगर ऐसा हो रहा है तो क्या बोलेंगे कि efficiency of the machine is 100%. Because whatever work output is equal to work input. But work output cannot be more than work input. Practically or at any way, work output will be less than or equal to one input. Work output cannot be more than input. Because work output will depend upon the input. Now, if I give 10 joule input, how can I get 12 joule output? Not possible. Okay. So work output depends upon input. Maximum what can happen? That is also a rare ideal case. maximum what can happen? These two can become equal. And if this is the case, that work output is equal to work input, then what will say? That efficiency of the machine is 100%. But if this is not the case, by any way, work output due to some reason that we'll study just now, what are the reasons? Work output is less than work input. Then what will happen? The work output is less than work input. And that is practically what happens. So ideal case, work output is equal to work input, efficiency 100%. Practical case, work output less than work input and efficiency is something less than 100%. It may be 90%, 80%, 60%, whatever it is. Okay. So efficiency is actually what? Work output by work input. Now let's do one derivation. We denote the efficiency by the Greek letter eta. This is called eta, not n. Okay. This part is a bit bigger. So efficiency is equal to work output, right? This work output, load into distance moved by load, and effort into distance moved by effort. Okay, students? So what we are getting? Load by effort by distance moved by load by distance moved by effort. Okay, clear? We can arrange this. This will come here. So load by effort is what? What you studied just now. This is actually mechanical advantage and this is what? This is VR. So what we have derived just now? Efficiency is equal to MA by VR. Okay. So this is the derivation. If you have not written it, please pause the video and write it down. Very important for the exam. Efficiency is equal to MA by VR. Okay. Achha. Now, principle of machine. What is the principle of machine? Principle of machine states that for an ideal case, efficiency is 100% and work input is equal to work output, or work output is equal to work input. Okay, for an ideal case. But generally, this is not the picture. Why? Now we are going to the next topic. Why the efficiency of machine is not 100%. Okay, I hope you have written this. I am writing the board. Why the efficiency of machine is generally, practically not 100%. Okay, see. First point. A machine may have some parts which are movable, but obviously they are not weightless. Okay, some movable, some weightless. Suppose a machine may have a block like this which is moving up and down. Okay, but this block is not weightless. Then what will happen? So some energy will be wasted in moving the block up and down. So what is the first part? The first part is the movable parts of machine are not weightless. Are not what? Weightless. Okay. Movable parts are not weightless. Second point, or nor, not only weightless, nor frictionless. Okay. Suppose a machine, on a machine, it is that this is moving up and down. So if this is moving up and down, so there will be a friction between those two surfaces. So some energy means some input, some work done on the machine, some input work, okay, is used to overcome these things, overcome the weight, overcome the friction. So how can you consider that the machine will be 100% efficient? Because some of the work we are giving, some of the input work is wasted here. Second point, if the machines are having strings, then those strings are not perfectly elastic. Means some energy is wasted in stretching the string. So strings are not perfectly elastic. Strings are not perfectly elastic. Means what? Some energy is wasted in overcoming the extension of the string. Okay, some energy is wasted there. So from where, what energy? Again that was same thing. So input work input. Some of the work input is wasted here, some wasted here, and there is one more point, and that point is what? The different parts of the machine are rigid, are not perfectly rigid. Different parts, the non-rigid parts. You must have seen, observed, generally when a machine runs, some sound, gur 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 gur, some this type sound comes. Why? Because the parts are not rigid and they are vibrating. And those vibration of the non-rigid parts produces sound. So when this is happening, so this is also being done at the expense of work input or input energy. So what input energy we are giving, that is also used up here. So this is the reason why any of it is not necessary that in all machine all will be there. So these are the some points where the energy is wasted. Which energy? Input energy or work input or work done on the machine is wasted. So suppose you are giving 100 joule and 20 joule is wasted in all this. So how much you will get in return? How much you will get in return? Obviously 80 joule. Suppose you took 100 rupees to buy something. You went to the market to buy 100 rupees. Okay. But 20 rupees you waste in transportation. So how much money you can buy for? 80 rupees now. So because transportation is the loss of money. Here also these are the loss. So this is the reason why efficiency of machine is not 100%. Okay. So this was all about the introduction of the different definitions, different things of machine. And now we are going to study, see in our syllabus, we have to study two types of machines. One is the lever and one is the pulley. In this video, we will restrict ourselves only to the lever. And in the second video, we study details of pulley and do the numericals. So what is lever? L-E-V-E-R. Okay, please note it down. Not L-I-V-E-R. L-I-V-E-R is the lever which is inside our body. Okay, so don't get confused. Now, what is lever? This you are studying from class 6, 7 physics books. They have lever. First class 1 lever, class 2 lever, class 3 lever. You must have known. That is the basic, that is the truth. Here we will study lever through the point of view of mechanical advantage. So if I go to the formal definition of lever, which is known to all of you, is that lever is a straight or bent rigid rod which is capable of rotating about a point, and that point is called fulcrum. So what is lever? Lever is a straight or bent rigid rod. So this is a, suppose I am taking, this is a lever. Okay. And this lever is rotating about this point. Okay. So this lever is able to rotate at this point. So what will I call it? So what is this point called? Fulcrum. Now one point, there are 3 points on lever. So if this is the fulcrum, then if this end is suppose called the load and this end is called the effort. Now this is not necessary, as you know very well. Fulcrum can also be in the side, load can also be in the middle, and on this thing. There are many combinations that we'll study now. So let us consider the first combination. So lever is a straight or bent rigid rod capable of rotating about a point called fulcrum. Suppose I say this is a, suppose I say this is a lever. So if suppose I load is here, I want to pull it this way. So this point, my finger here is acting the job, doing the job of the wedge. So this is point is fulcrum. Here is a load and my left hand is giving the effort. Then giving the effort. So this is the effort, this is the load, and here is the fulcrum. Okay, so this will behave like a lever. Now, principle of lever is what? See, suppose let us take the simplest example. So this is called what? The load to fulcrum. This distance is called load arm and this is called effort arm. Now if I consider class 2 lever, in class 2 lever what happens? Load is in the middle. Here is the load. Suppose this end is the fulcrum. Here is the load and here is the effort. Then what will happen? This much is the load arm and this much is what? This much is what? The full is the effort arm. Okay. This is what? Class 1 lever. This is what? Class 2 lever. And now we are going to the third, that is the class 3 lever. In class 3 lever, what is happening? Effort is in middle. Let us take this end is the fulcrum and this end is the load. Okay, this is the class 3 lever. So this is the load arm, this is the effort arm. Here opposite, effort arm is smaller and load arm is bigger. Okay. Now, so you have understood what is load? Load is the point where load is applied, where we have the load. Effort, actually this is the point of, this is not load. This point we are calling is, this point is the point of application of load, which we generally call load. This point is E, means point of application of effort, and this is the fulcrum. Similarly, load, this point L is what? Where load is there, point of application of load, point of application of effort for the same thing. And fulcrum is the point about which it can rotate. That is called the fulcrum. Okay. Now we are going to study about the principle of lever. Principle of lever. Principle. So see, let us take this case. This load, if this is in equilibrium, then what will happen? Anti-clockwise moment is equal to clockwise moment. Okay, students? Anti-clockwise moment is equal to clockwise moment. Just remember, we have studied in chapter 1. So if this is the case, so anti-clockwise moment is equal to clockwise moment. So what is the anti-clockwise moment? Load into this distance. What we call it? Load arm. So and what is anti-clockwise moment? Effort into, what is this distance called? Effort arm. So load into load arm is equal to effort into effort arm. So principle of lever says that when this at equilibrium, in the case of equilibrium, what will happen? In the case of equilibrium, anti-clockwise moment is equal to clockwise moment. Okay. So if you take this case, what will happen? Load into load arm, load into load arm is equal to effort into effort arm. Okay. So what is the case? Anti-clockwise moments means what? Load into load arm is equal to effort into effort arm. So in case of simple machine, what is the case? Load into load arm is equal to effort into effort arm. Okay, students? So from here, what will be the formula of load by effort? Load by effort will be what? Tell me. Effort arm by load arm. Now what is actually load by effort? Just remember what we have studied, what we called it, this ratio as mechanical advantage. So obviously this ratio will be what? Mechanical advantage. So therefore, mechanical advantage is equal to effort arm by load arm in case of levers. So for lever, we have derived a special formula for mechanical advantage in case of lever, that is effort arm by load arm. Now let's see. If effort arm is greater than load arm, MA is greater than 1. Obviously, no? If effort arm is bigger, MA is bigger. Means MA greater than 1 means what? We have to apply less effort. This is the reason whenever you must have seen wrench, as the size increases, the length of the handle also increases. Why? Because if the length of the handle is bigger, what is the length of the handle? Effort arm. If effort arm is bigger, then we have to apply less effort, because mechanical advantage will become bigger. Suppose this case, let us consider this is the case like first class lever, class 1 lever. Here is what? The load, here is the fulcrum, and here is the effort. So this is much bigger. So if effort arm is bigger, much bigger than the load arm, then what we'll have to do? Then the mechanical advantage will be more. And mechanical advantage more means we have to apply less effort. Simple. So if effort arm is greater than load arm, the mechanical advantage is greater than 1. Okay? 2 number. If effort arm equal to load arm, MA is equal to 1. It is possible only in case of class 1 lever. As we have seen, the taraju, physical balance used by the vegetable sellers. Load arm, effort arm. Okay. MA equal to 1. 3 number. And if effort arm is less than load arm, so MA is what? Less than 1. So all depends here. Here we are not going to study how much load is applied, how much effort. No. We are just going to study effort arm and load arm. Okay? Understood? Achha. So MA is less than 1. So let's see which class lever has what MA. In class 1 lever, the MA can be any. Suppose if these are exactly, if fulcrum is exactly in the middle, so effort arm is equal to load arm, then MA is 1. If fulcrum is shifted towards the load, if fulcrum is shifted as this was the example. If fulcrum is shifted towards the load, then what will happen? The load one arm will become small, effort arm will become big, and that will be the case of MA greater than 1. Or if the fulcrum is shifted towards the effort for any reason, then load arm will be greater, effort arm will be smaller, then that will be MA less than 1. Okay. So in class 1 lever, the MA of can be anything. Less than 1, greater than 1. Okay. See the examples of class 1 lever. You have studied the example of class 1 lever. Pliers, seesaw, nutcracker. These are what? The examples of class 1 lever. Please find it from the book. Class 2 levers. Now what is happening for class 2 lever? In the class 2 lever, we are also having many examples like the wheelbarrow, bottle opener, okay, nutcracker. These are what? Examples of class 2 lever. And class 3 lever, we are having the foot pedal, knife, sugar tongue. These are what? The example of class 3 lever. Okay, you can see this example from a book. Achha. So in what about MA? MA of class 1 lever can be anything. Class 2 lever. A question comes in ICSE, why MA of class 2 lever is always greater than 1? Why MA of class 2 lever is always greater than 1? Yeah, they may ask, which class of lever has MA always greater than 1? So class 2 lever. Why? See, effort arm will be always, effort arm is this side now. So this distance will be always greater than this distance. Is it possible that this distance is less than this distance? No, never. So in class 2 lever, MA, so class 2 lever is what? It can have MA anything. MA greater than, less than, equal to 1. Anything. Here MA is always less than 1. Sorry. MA is always greater than 1. Always. Always greater than 1. Why? Because effort arm is always greater than load arm. What is the formula of MA? Effort arm by load arm. Let's come here. Here MA is always less than 1. Always. Class 3 lever, MA is always less than 1. Why? Because effort arm is always greater. Because same case now, where there was load, same here effort. So here effort arm must be always greater. Here load arm will be always greater. So MA will be always less than 1. So let's sum up. Class 1 lever, anything. Class 2 lever, MA greater than 1. Class 3 lever, MA less than 1. Okay. Now let's see an example of rowing the boat. There are two types of oars. You know what is oar? Oar is something that is used to row the boat. We call it oar. Okay, students? Let me rub the boat. Now there are two types of oars. In one type, the big oar, and okay, in one type, what happens? Suppose this is a big oar, boat. And this is here is the oar fixed with the boat. Okay, and this part is in water, and this is in the hand of the person. In hand, this is the. So what is in hand? Here it is moving it, pulling it, giving the effort. This is fixed with the boat, fulcrum, and removing water. What is the load? Removing the water. Here is the load. So if I ask you what class lever it is, you will say, sir, fulcrum middle means what? Class 1 lever, simple. Yes, you are right. Fulcrum middle means class 1 lever, simple, class 1 lever. But let us take one more case of rowing the boat. That is the speed boat, a boat racing. You must have seen, in the case of boat racing, what they do, you know. The oar is not fixed. What they do? They have small oars. For example, let me take, this is the oar. What they do? They fix the oar in the left hand. Okay. And put it, this part is in water, they sit on the side of the boat, you must see in the book. And they push it this way. So this is fulcrum, this is load. Where is the effort? Effort is in class 3. Effort is where? Effort is in the middle. Effort is in the middle of fulcrum and load. So what class lever it will be? It will be class 3 lever. Okay, friends? So this is class 1 lever and this is class 3 lever. Here we are having gain in speed. But here we are having gain in force. Okay, because we know that in class 1 lever MA can be anything. But in class 3 lever, MA is always less than 1. Then why we will use it? Why we will use it? Only to gain in speed. So they use it, here they have to apply more effort. But still they use it. Why? For gain in speed. And let me tell you one thing more. As I told you just before, the scissor used for paper cutting or cloth cutting, they also have bigger handle. Means effort arm is bigger, load arm is smaller. Bigger blade, smaller handle. So bigger blade means what? What does bigger blade means? Bigger blade means load arm is bigger, smaller handle means effort arm is smaller. So MA is less than 1. But still we use it to gain in speed. Okay? So this is all. Before going to that, see, question comes in ICSE, where is the class 1, class 2, class 3 lever in our body? So class 1 lever is what? See, this part of the body is class 1 lever. How? The back part, where the brain part is there, that is the effort. And this skull is resting on the backbone, that is the load. And that is the fulcrum, and the front weight is the load. So fulcrum is in the middle, so class 1 lever. If you are holding anything in the hand, okay, so this is the load. Suppose I am keeping the book on hand, this way. This way I am keeping it. So this is the load. This is what? From where will I get the effort? These muscles are giving me the effort to hold it. And this is what? The fulcrum. So here effort is in the, okay, here the effort here. So this is what? The class 3 lever. And when you are moving upward with the help of leg, then that is the example of class 2 lever. Okay, students? So this way we have started in this part of, we have completed the first video we have completed up to here the first part of this chapter, and very soon we will go to see the second part. Okay, students, till then, have a nice day.